E aí, pessoal, beleza? Hoje eu estou aqui na Holanda, na cidade de Ede, e eu estou com muito prazer de estar aqui na casa da Jaqueline, é uma das melhores aquaristas que eu conheço, e ela reproduz algumas espécies muito legais que eu vou mostrar para vocês, inclusive alguns acaris aí do Rio Xingu, parancistros, o preto velho, né, que é o ranúnculos, e eu vou mostrar isso tudo para vocês agora. E eu estou muito feliz de estar aqui com ela e a gente vai conhecer um pouquinho da sala de aquários dela. Jacqueline, thank you for having us here.
You're welcome.
Yeah,
It's a pleasure having you.
nice. Can you say in Dutch? Welcome to the people.
Hoi allemaal, leuk jullie om hier mijn viskamer te laten zien. En met allemaal verschillende soorten vissen. Met Leandro en zijn vrouw hier. En ik ben heel blij.
Well, I hope it's nice things that you said. Ok, bom, vamos lá visitar a sala da Jaqueline. Olha que legal, gente. Como né, eu mostrei em outros fish rooms aqui da Europa, aqui faz muito frio. E aí o que o pessoal faz? Eles têm uma sala separada, né? E eles fazem um isolamento térmico. Então quando a gente entra aqui já está bem quentinho. Então essa é uma forma bem interessante deles manterem a temperatura dos aquários. Vamos lá. Então vamos entrar agora na sala de aquários da Jaqueline. Ela é relativamente pequena, né? Então tem 3,5 metros por 3,5 metros. Só que, apesar de ser pequena, ela tem bastante aquários. Tem 16 aquários atualmente. E esses aquários são muito bem organizados, são muito limpos. A filtração deles, a maioria é por filtro centralizado, né? Também um santo. Uma coisa interessante é que a Jaqueline não usa substrato, né, nos aquários. Então, é o que a gente chama de bare bottom, os aquários sem substrato. Exceto quando tem coridoras, né? Nos aquários que ela tem coridoras tem areia, porque as coridoras elas ficam muito confortáveis com areia, elas precisam disso para o enriquecimento ambiental. As estantes são de madeira, que é um material bem comum, o pessoal faz as estantes aqui. Os aquários são ligeiramente maiores também do que em outras salas de aquário que a gente visitou. Tem algumas espécies bem legais que a gente vai falar daqui a pouco, né? Como esse Parancyssus aurantiacus. E a gente consegue ver aqui na parede, né, que ela é apaixonada pelos ancistos, né? E os ancistos são chamados, né, em inglês de medusa pleca, por causa dos tentáculos. Jack, what is your special fish? So what's the fish you like the most?
Oh, Ancystus ranunculus.
Ancystus ranunculus?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah?
Yes.
It's here, right?
I like the shape of the fish.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, I think they're excellent.
Yeah.
Nice. And I like their behavior as well. Like the breeding, the eggs on the top of the roof.
Mm-hmm.
The color of the fry and just the whole, yeah.
Yeah, I think you are one of the few people in the world that breed that species, right?
Yeah, that's not
The only one?
No, not the only one.
Uh-huh.
But it's rare. Yeah, sure.
And it's interesting because this is one of the most common species of crackhor in the middle Xingu. Very, very nice, and they live in crevices. And
yeah.
Did you know that before doing the setup, or was coincidence that you made this flat caves?
No, because I visited the Aldamba days and I
Uh-huh.
heard you talk about the habitat and everything, and then in combination with Jost and Silke building these kind of caves. Yeah, sure. That's how I bought the caves and I started keeping the ranunculus and they spawned in the caves.
Cool. Very nice. Congrats! Congratulations! They're very happy fish, I can see. Very clean tanks you have. How often do you clean them?
Just once a week.
Once a week.
Yeah.
We have here some Parancystus aurantiacus that are yellow,
Yes.
and you have a lot of experience with that. So, what are your thoughts on why they change color? What do you have to say about it?
My experience is once they turn yellow, like in this tank, they stay yellow. Sometimes if the water chemistry changes or it's a different season, then they will change back to dark. But most times they will stay yellow like this. Yeah, especially for the aurantiacus.
Yeah. So sometimes they turn back to black, and then they turn back to yellow.
Yes.
And some specimens just stay yellow.
Yes. Yeah.
Yes.
Most of them stay yellow like this. Even the small ones, if I put a darker one from my own breed and I put them in this tank, they will adapt to the rest of the fish and they will turn yellow as well. But if I leave them in their own tank, then they won't. Then they will stay dark.
So do you think it's something about this tank or this habit or the way this tank is built, the chemical on it,
No,
it's not the food? Or?
No, I don't think it's the food and I don't think it's the water. So in this case, I think they just adapt to the rest of the colony and they turn yellow. I don't know exactly why, but yeah.
Yeah, that's a mystery.
Yes, it is.
Science, yeah.
Sure
I don't have. I have no idea.
No.
I thought it was the food, because a lot of hobbyists think it's the food,
Yeah.
and in the wild, also it changes with the seasons.
Okay.
So in
That's it.
starting of the rainy season, you have more yellow fish, and it's when they are breeding also.
Mm-hmm.
So
Well,
maybe
these
something related to
breed
that.
all year,
Yeah.
more in winter and less in summer, but they breed all year and they are also all yellow the whole year. So
Any
if
difference
it could be something with breeding, then yes.
Any difference between male and female? Both sexes
All
turn yellow.
Just the same, yeah.
Mhm, so that's awesome.
Yeah.
How do you feed your fish? So what do you think is most important for your success keeping those fish?
Important is the fish itself. Is it newly imported? Is it an old fish? Is it a younger fish? Is it reproducing? So if it's active, then you feed more. If it's a juvenile that's growing a lot, I think it's important to feed close to what the fish needs, like especially a kind of formula that's in a natural habitat, because the gut and the healthiness of the fish depends on what you feed it. So especially if you want to reproduce a fish as well, then you have to feed it something that it's used to eat. Especially if you feed carnivores a lot of plant-based food, they don't do well, but the other way around, exactly the same. Like I've noticed with the nudibranchs, if you feed them too much protein, like too much carnivore foods, they will bloat easily, and then they will die, of course. They will have all sorts of problems. So it's very important to feed them not too much and feed them like the outwooks feeds. Yeah.
Okay. I see here that you have a lot of babies in the breeding box. You have success in raising them. What's your secret? What do you do to be successful in raising the young plecos?
It's a little bit dependent on the species, but most of all, I try to let the males take care of the eggs and the fry as long as possible. And then just to give them a better opportunity to feed, you put them into a fry box like this. And that way you can concentrate just on the small fry and give them the food they need. I give them a lot of leaves as well, and some small granulated feed. And then you can, because it's such a small container, you can see if they are eating well and how they are doing.
Yeah.
Give them lots of places to hide as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
And I see you always use some wood, sometimes leaves, catapa leaves,
Yes.
if possible.
Walnuts.
Walnuts, here
Yes.
is more common walnuts.
Yeah.
You don't have catapa here, right?
We do, but you have to buy that. And
Yeah.
walnut leaves are just grow in nature, so
Yeah,
you just
uh-huh.
collect them yourself.
Okay.
Yeah.
Some hobbyists, they like to take the eggs out of the male and put in the tumbler or a breeding box. And you told me that you do not do that. You prefer to keep the male.
If they do
taken
a good
care?
job, yes, then I let the males take care of the eggs because it's much more natural. So they take care of the egg bowl and they clean it.
yeah.
And, yeah, because if you get one fungused egg, the male gets it out like excellent. And if you do it yourself, it's always tricky. You rip the eggs. But for instance, like Parancystis nudibranchs, they are really sensitive eggs, and the male kicks them out. Then I take care of them themselves, and I put them in a special container with some antifungal medicine in it, and lots of air and movement, and then they hatch in a container.
Oh, okay. So if the male kicks them out,
Then I
of course
take
you
care
put in
of
the
them.
breeding box, or if not, you
Yeah.
just leave them. And then how? So you wait for the babies to leave the caves, or you take them out
I
on
take
the
them-
second day, or more or less
No.
after hatch?
Mostly at about 6 or 7 days. When the yolk sac is almost gone and they start to go out of the caves, that's when I pull them out.
Okay.
Otherwise, I have to catch all the fry in the tank. So
Yeah.
yeah,
Oh, very nice.
yeah, sure.
A Jaqueline é uma das melhores aquaristas que eu já conheci e eu aprendi muito aqui na sala de aquários dela. Ela é uma das poucas pessoas que reproduz algumas espécies muito difíceis de cascudo, né? Como vocês viram aí, Parancyssus aurantiacus, Ancyssus ranunculus, e tem algumas outras espécies também que ela mantém, como o Spectracanthicus zoanone. Essa é uma variedade de cor que a gente chama de maracajá no Rio Xingu, e ganhou o L354, diferente do L20. E tem também esse outro peixinho aqui que é muito icônico, foi descrito como Micracanthicus vandracti, só que hoje em dia ele é considerado um Hypancystus. E um dos projetos legais que a Jaqueline está fazendo agora é a reprodução de Ageneiosus magoi. Essa é uma espécie de bagre da Venezuela, muito bonita, e ela está tentando reproduzir essa espécie. É a primeira vez que eu vi essa espécie viva, né? Muito legal. E junto com esse aquário tem o Scobinancyssus aureatus, que é o L14, que também ela está tentando reproduzir.
Okay, so that's it, folks. Thank you very much for having us here. It's your amazing fish room. It's very famous. A lot of obvious thoughts about this fish room. It is special. And thank you very much for keeping so special fishes. They are breeding well. You can be an inspiration for young girls and women to be in the hobby. We know that the hobby is much more men than women, but we hope that more women can come to the job. And
everybody can do this, so
yes.
Especially women as well. We need more women in the hobby.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, thank you well.
Graag gedaan.
Massa. Isso aí. Ok.